Hey everyone, welcome back to another Anime Kingdom review. See by title below, this is on episode 8 of Drifters. And yes, I know, I'm sorry, this is a couple days late, but my excuse is really just I have been really busy. Obviously, Black Friday sales, shopping, spending time with family and everything for the weekend, and I just have not had the time to make this episode review. But here it is, finally, here is my review on episode 8 of Drifters. Let's talk about how I felt about this episode. First off, come on. Normally, you know, I've said before, the comedy is a hit or miss. But literally, there was a historical joke in this one that I actually really did enjoy. Normally, you know, with historical jokes and stuff like that, sometimes it's hard because obviously some of us don't know certain, you know, facts from a certain history or something of a certain person or anything, so it kind of goes over your head. For some of them, like the Japanese ones, I don't know a lot of Japanese history, so sometimes it literally just goes straight over my head and I don't know what's going on. But for once, there was actually one that I did know, and I thought it was honestly pretty damn funny. The whole part with Scipio and the Zero pilot, pretty much at first, it's pretty crazy. Obviously, the wolf, there's like a bunch of wolfmen kind of thing, and you know, at the end when we saw the pilot crash, I thought, holy crap, what's gonna happen to him? Turns out, yeah, they treat him as a sky god. So yeah, that was interesting, and they're kind of scared of him, and I would be too. He's really pissed off all the time. But it's funny to see the first interaction between him and Scipio. Scipio, not knowing what to do, ends up saying, you know, everyone knows Rome, so he's like, Rome! And all of a sudden, the pilot's like, Rome? Oh! And instantly knows Italy. Obviously, Rome is in Italy, and you know, in World War II, Italy was part of the Axis powers. Thus, yeah, they're like that and all. Everything seems all good and everything, and all of a sudden, boom! The pilot remembers for some reason now. In 1944, Italy pretty much makes peace with the Allies and joins in on the war and attacks Germany. Thus, as you can see, he ends up getting pissed and we have them fighting each other. And honestly, I was really kind of cracking up on that joke. It was pretty funny, honestly. I can see that kind of humor, and it's still like I keep saying, the comedy in this anime is a hit or miss, but I've honestly gotten kind of used to it already. There was a lot in this episode. I wish they kind of toned it down. It seems like that's what they do. They go crazy kind of episodes, crazy intense, lots of crazy cool things happening, and then there's an episode with a ton of, you know, this type of comedy. And it's honestly, like I keep saying, a hit or miss. Sometimes I find it funny, sometimes it's like, oh, yeah, okay, can we go on to something else? You know, it's really hard to say sometimes, but honestly, you just have to literally get used to it. For me, I've gotten used to it already, and at least some of them are enjoyable and funny. After that, pretty much what happened in the beginning of the episode, actually, that I forgot to mention, was the whole thing with Yoichi and Yotsimunu or something like that. I forget what his name was. Obviously, there's that one guy, and Yoichi is obviously, after that whole fight and just that whole interaction between them, I thought Yoichi was going to be like kind of out of it for the rest of this episode, but he seemed kind of fine later on. I guess he's kind of just like, you know, just like pushed it to the side for now. Obviously, it did affect him a lot. He was like, I'm not going to take orders from you anymore, and obviously it really did affect him what happened in his past and everything. So hopefully they will, you know, dive more into on that history, because I don't know a lot about Yoichi and everything, so it would be interesting to see, and I'm pretty sure it will, considering he is one of the main characters, and that other guy will show up again later on. And it's hard to say what that other guy is. He's obviously, he can't be an end, because they seem to have, like, ends pretty much don't have a sane mind at all. But this guy seems to have a sane mind still yet, or maybe not. I'm not too sure. It seems like he's normal, and he could be a drifter, just drifting between both sides, literally. I'm not too sure. Hopefully we will show more on him too. Obviously we're going to, because he is one of the main villains, probably one of the ends that will come and attack him later on, probably. The rest of this episode, literally, it was just their plan on what they're gonna do. It was nice to see, kind of like learn of Nobunaga and his pretty much his plans and ideals for what's gonna come of the future. Obviously, Seimei Abe no Seimei doesn't agree with him on what he thinks and what he wants to do, and there are a lot of things. That's why he's going to be keeping an eye on Nobunaga, which is a smart thing because literally out of all of them, he is the scariest. He's the smartest one. I love learning of his strategy, his plans on what he's planning on doing. It was pretty awesome to hear and pretty enjoyable. And then of course, our cowboy Sundance Kid and oh man, what was I forget the other guy's name. Sorry, if you can remind me, feel free to comment below on that. But pretty much they literally kind of give a description of what the bullets are, what the Gatling gun is, and everything. And then like they give it to him later on too, saying, "Hey," because they don't know how the mechanics of it, And obviously Nobunaga is making black powder, to which no one else knew how, not even Abe no Seimei, which they had people studying and trying to figure out for a while, So it's interesting to see how all this is progressing with Nobunaga, literally the one. It's supposed to be Abe no Seimei kind of like leading the Octobris and the Drifters, but it seems like Nobunaga has his own plans, and literally it seems like he's more intact on what he's planning to do, while Abe no Seimei doesn't know exactly what he's going to be doing and everything. So it should be interesting to see and learn more about the two of them and how these two will clash for leadership in the future. Obviously, like Toyohisa is literally just like he's just a figurehead really in what's going on here. The whole thing with obviously why Nobunaga wants Toyohisa to be king and not him, it was explained it right there, and it was pretty interesting to see why. We already knew kind of why and the explanation for this and how Toyohisa is a better fit for that, but obviously he is still kind of stupid is what Nobunaga says, so he's going to be his advisor in a way. Pretty much he's pretty much the one, the puppet master, of course, and Toyohisa is the puppet pretty much. And in this one, of course, it is the next thing they're going to be doing is going to, of course, get the dwarves. The elves and the dwarves, of course, in this have kind of a feud between each other. And I mean, it's kind of expected in every single story, every single type of movie, anime, game, anything of the sorts, books. It's always the dwarves and elves kind of have a hate for each other and aren't really allies. But of course, Toyohisa is going no matter what, and the elves, after him protecting and saving them, they want to follow as well. Plus the fact that if the dwarves and the elves had fought together, in that maybe they wouldn't have been taken over by the empire. Thus, they don't want to follow the same things that their ancestor did, so they are moving on with them as well. So yeah, it should be an exciting episodes to come. This one was more of like the calm before the storm kind of thing. That something crazy just happened, so we're going back to square one with some build up on everything. The Octobris, Abe no Seimei and them are going to find Scipio and obviously the Zero pilot as well, and then of course get back to the headquarters and do all this kind of stuff, while obviously Nobunaga, Toyohisa, them are en route to save the dwarves and start pretty much allying themselves with a bunch of the other neighboring countries and pretty much taking over the empire. So I cannot wait to see how those go. I cannot wait to see what's going to happen when we see the Black King has noticed the failure of the ends. What is he going to do? What is his plans? What are they going to do? Another thing with Abe no Seimei is it seems he's the only one that knows Murasaki, and it's kind of like he's trying to figure out, oh, okay, Murasaki's he did this for a reason. He sent these guys for a reason. So it's interesting to see, like, how come he's the only one who knows him, and, like, kind of, I want to know, like, did he have a conversation? Was he the person that was supposed to lead all of them kind of thing? I'm not too sure, but hopefully they do, delve more into that as well. It's hard to say because in this, I want to just make sure. Oh, okay, so I'm not too sure how much episodes are in this anime. Hopefully it will be a lot, like 24 episodes or maybe even more than that kind of thing. But, right now, at the moment, if this was a 12 episode season, there would be no way in hell that the story can push off. I wouldn't know how everything would be rushed. But luckily, yeah, I'm not too sure. According to my anime list, it's a question mark, so I don't really know how many episodes there are. But at least for sure, it would already shown if there was 12. So hopefully that means that at least there will be 24 episodes in the season, which means there's definitely a lot more time for them to, do with their plans for everything here, because there's still a lot of things, still a lot of questions left open, still a lot of things left to figure out and everything. The whole conflict between Murasaki and Easy, Toyohisa, them pretty much creating their own country kind of thing, gathering allies to defeat the empire, thus gaining enough forces and power and strength to defeat the Black King and everything. So yeah, I can't wait to see how these next few episodes will go. But yeah, that's all I gotta say, guys. Hope you enjoyed this Animal Kingdom review. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. If there's anything I missed and you want to talk about, comment below as well. And if you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe for more content. And yeah, that's all I gotta say, guys. I cannot wait to see how these next episodes will go, considering this was pretty much, we went from our craziness of the last episode to pretty much back to the standard base point, where we will see all the other groups, pretty much delve in their different directions and see where the build up goes and when it explodes, as it usually does. Because I cannot wait to see more action of this, because so far every action scene has been pretty awesome. The story pretty awesome so far. The only thing I always say, it's just mediocre for me, is the comedy. It's a hit or miss, literally hit or miss, though there was a pretty funny one in this one. I cannot wait to see how everything goes on in the future. But yeah, that's all I gotta say, guys. So till next time, see ya.